Red means green as we come to life here at twitch.tv/conspiracy horseman. In a rain, hail, snow, and earthquake, search your mental birthday. 50 straight push-ups, keep your body in perfect shape. Just got hit up on the hip by this bird talking about she got a blister on her lip that comes from not gargling after sucking. But we're not sucking here today, infidels, because we don't do that shit around here. That's a no-no in the locker room from now on. Y'all, it's here, your Monday Locker Room, kicking it off with all the news and reviews and who's got the blues? Not us, infidels, here at hackerhamin.podbean.com. YOLO! Oh, shit, man. Back in the saddle again. It's a good weekend. Just kind of taking some time off. Definitely put in some extra Stevie Richards fitness back session yesterday, man, and I am feeling it. Man Beast, I'm going to need some back rehabilitation exercises because I way overdid it with the double bands yesterday, bro. Good morning to you, doctor.
Ben, we worked all last week to get you all back to normal, and you've already jacked yourself up again.
Already, I'm old as shit.
Oh man, the heavy price of wisdom is a hard one to pay.
Yeah. It is, man, and we both know it because there's probably a student loan officer out there with a shotgun looking for us both, but they'll never find us here in Kayfabe Island. But this guy, he's back in there under the thumb of the man. Obviously they're calling each other when they're off camera. What are you wearing? Oh, I don't know. What are you wearing? Let's go pink and black attack. We'll do Heart Foundation. Okay, but I get to be Anvil. All right, I like bread anyway. And then they call each other, and then they get all color coordinated so they can be here live at twitch.tv/conspiracy horseman looking like a tag team because they're trying to get signed. It's Rick Vic for you, everybody.
Hey, guys, I can't speak for Beast here, but, for me, I got to get up bright and early. It takes quite a bit of work. Not quite a bit, a whole lot of work to look this half-ass and just to bring that A game for the Monday Locker Room. Gentlemen, welcome back. Ben, you mentioned you've been trying to catch up there with Stevie Richards fitness. I got to ask you, I want to hear about the RBV fitness. What kind of food were you guys enjoying down there on vacation?
Oh, man, we had some good bites because Man Beast is a specialist when it comes to using Yelp and Google Maps and hitting the reviews and having 1, 2, 3 choices because there's a lot of places that
I thought you were gonna say like on the barbecue or on the deep fryer.
No, we were out a bit, and we had like this first night was this tapas place. It was excellent, man. Like these really gourmet tacos.
It was Allen Grill down in Sarasota, Florida, top notch.
Yeah, that was.
For those that are watching on Twitch, and if you're listening, then you should definitely watch too. See, here's my Google Maps. That is the city of Sarasota, Florida, and all the 4.5-star hot spots, whether they be restaurants, bars, attractions that got all kinds of crazy reviews. When I'm up late at night and get insomnia, I'm literally mapping out cities and kind of fantasizing the restaurants and attractions and places.
Hey, dude, we could monetize this here where it's the Man Beast foodie tour of each city, man, where you have it all pre-mapped out, ready to rock.
I already have it pretty much mapped out. I literally would have to sit down and just write out the itinerary, but I got the places ready to go.
So that was great. We kept trying to go to Walt's Seafood Market where they have like a live, not live, but like a huge fresh fish case right there, and so you're getting stuff that it was just in the ocean that morning.
I think we tried each day we were down there. Yeah. Every time it was like an 1.5 to 2 hour wait, and so finally we said screw it. We went like in the middle of the day the last day. Yeah, we knew it's like we got to get there.
And yeah, we got there. But we were eating seafood pretty much. We had gator, we had everything. Ceviche, man.
Conch, ceviche, all kinds of fish, shrimp, clams.
That was what we were there for, man, and so that's what we definitely did it up that way. And we were sipping on Coronas. We went golfing, man. Probably the nicest
second time golfing ever,
and the nicest golf course ever.
Off.
No, and he did damn good. He did damn good for.
What'd you shoot, Beast? If you don't mind sharing it.
Well, with the handicap, I shot a 58. So, and that's on 9 holes.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's his first time out. So I mean, it was good. Referee Sideburns took it that day with a 48. I had 49 and Mondo had a 56, but it was a PGA level and it was awesome place. And then I came back and whipped Sideburns' ass yesterday at the at another place. I had to get my retribution, get my heat back real quick. Sand traps at the end were a motherfucker. They had these huge greens, but then the sand traps they weren't even really sand traps. Legit, they were just like trenches, like storming the beach in Normandy, bro.
You shared on social media?
Yeah, dude. But you couldn't even see the whole scope of it, and there was one on the other side. So if you didn't land it right on the green, you're legit. And it was probably like 40 yards by 30 yards wide and 17, 18 foot deep to get up on the green.
We just thought you were back in Saudi.
Yeah, dude. It was like playing in my backyard chipping again. So I got out of there and won. That's not a problem. But I was like, holy shit, you think you're bringing it home, and then, nah, you ain't bringing it home. Home is bringing you. And that was it. So we had a good time. And Mondo, he's a Long Island guy, so he's pitch and putt. So he's used to like short holes, but there was 2 short holes. Mondo's short on everything, but you know that he
said that, Ben.
He nailed it. He stuck it like he was back home on his home course. But when it comes to the big boy shots of driving at 480, me and Sideburns, that's all we play is long ball. So it was a good time, man. We had a great time, and it wasn't balls ass. I mean, it wasn't cold by any means, but I expected it to be, you know, Better Call Saul in the desert type shit. Like that, I was. But it was nice, man. And we were right in the middle of, like, every hole had water, so it freaked you out. Like, because all the holes had people's houses, like these $1 million houses around them. And then you leave their little block and you go up the cart path through their neighborhood. And then you go into the next neighborhood and they've got a hole, and they've got a whole water hole. So if you don't like playing water, it'll fuck with your head big time. And you're just waiting for an alligator to come, like, marching out on you, you know. It was good. We held alligators. We saw crocodiles. We saw big-ass birds, macaws and parrots and all that shit, man. Flamingos. Yeah, we fled flamingos.
We saw some good flamingo fights.
Oh, yeah.
We were providing we were providing some commentary. It was great.
Yeah, it was a good time, man.
The best part is they did good business. They worked. They do this weird kind of dance with each other where they move their heads, and Ben and I were just impressed because clearly they were working the gimmick. It took them 20 minutes to finally lock up. And
like,
very well worked.
They were cutting promos on each other for a long time too beforehand. It was good, man.
Very, very nice.
But I'm the best golfer in the world.
Tiger Woods ain't got shit on Ben Hamin.
No, fuck no. I got shit on him from Epstein Island. Go ahead.
Well,
fuck the Japanese wrestlers and fuck the golfers.
Yeah, man, we have a good time out there. Me and referee Sideburns, like, up here, we just are like golf pirates, and we go everywhere to like courses because we were like, why don't you sign up here? Like, why would I want to go to the same fucking place, pay $1,200 to be a member just to be another asshole who goes there all the time to get away from their wife? I would rather go every place I can for $25. And even then they had golf card that I don't think we got it this year yet, but it was like buy one get one. So we were going all over the state, fucking killing it, man, and having a full season instead of we play the same place twice and then that's it. We go to the next one. That's it. I love that shit. Especially after being locked in the studio for 16 hours a day, you know, it's like getting paroled to be out on the yard. So it's nice, man. I take that time to just regroup my thoughts, and then I'll hit a shitty one and get super pissed off, and all my rage from everything else that's been going on will channel itself into
open the floodgates.
Yeah. I need to get an extra club, like an old shitty one, so I can just whip it, like go over in my bag and like chuck it, so I don't chuck my good clubs. But I do need a whip it club.
Get yourself like a kendo stick in there or something like that.
I should. I got 2 of them sitting right here.
Or you always pull Happy Gilmore, put the old hockey stick in there.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Never know.
I just need something I can take out that I'm not going to throw a, $200, $300 Mizuno club, and I can just take out an old shitty one that I bought from Play It Again Sports for $2 and throw it as far as I can when I get mad.
Speaking of clubs getting thrown, there may or may not have been an incident on the golf course where one of the golf clubs got released from one of the players' hands while we were down there. I'm not going to say who it was, but it was that was also an event to be witnessed. As I'm pretty sure the ball or the club itself actually went further than the ball on that shot. It was pretty remarkable.
What's the beverage of choice on the golf course, gentlemen?
Dude, that day it was water and Gatorade.
Yeah.
You could
I'll
not.
say
too much.
the rest of the trip, it was a lot of beers, but on that day, there was
We had
no
a little
way.
everything. We were drinking margaritas. He was drinking tequila. You got that cool tequila bottle right there?
Check this out. And actually, I'll say it's really high quality tequila.
It's called
Russo.
Rudo.
Very nice.
Show him the top. Show him the top of the bottle, Beast.
Yeah, it came apart, but actually have a new little
Lucha.
for the shelf.
Oh,
little,
very
little
cool.
Lucha
Very
mask.
cool.
And I have to say, because believe me, I've had some really bad nights on tequila. That I can say that's good quality stuff right there. It's good high quality.
It's just so goddamn hot in Florida. You got to drink Coronas. You can't be drinking nothing heavy, man. And that on the golf course, you'd have been dead in the water if you tried to drink a 6-pack. You'd been done by the 5th hole.
And that was my plan, but when we got there, I was like, "There's no way."
No.
I guess that you mentioned it there, Ben. Corona. We got a little bit of our news run here.
There you
but
go.
how was the distancing down there? I know over the last since you guys have returned. I don't know if you guys triggered this thing or what.
I don't know. Referee
referee
sideburns marked out and went and got tested because he's got family coming in and his parents watch all the news and they just freak. So he's kind of my litmus test. So if he comes back, then he's got it. Then I guess we got it. But I feel fine.
It didn't seem like a lot of social distancing was going on, but I could say also I don't felt like at any point we were really ever overly exposed. Anytime we went to a restaurant, we usually ate outside, and the waitresses had face masks. But you could tell people were still congregating, going to bars.
Yeah. People who are working in food service wear masks. Everybody else doesn't give a shit. But then coming back to New York where everyone's a fucking psycho and everywhere you go, it's tough to adjust coming back.
Wait, what do you mean? People are psycho everywhere they aren't wearing masks or are?
If you were to walk around without a mask on here, dude, people look at you like they're ready to tack you up on the cross, bro.
Well, I don't. Okay. Oh, I guess that type of craze behavior of jumping on people for not wearing masks. That is kind of wild. But I don't think it's psychotic to wear a mask considering the news that people are given on a daily basis.
It's not about that, dude. Let me put it this way: he's not wearing a mask. Look at him; he's not wearing a mask. You like that?
It's immediately like you see regularly out of places like New York. I mean, they got their cell phone out there. You're going viral.
Yeah, dude.
With it.
They just want to fuck with you and make the tension way hot. We went there to escape that, beast. I mean, it was fun hanging out, but the people who haven't gotten out of here twice, I have to reset. They have lost their fucking minds, bro. About 3-4 weeks ago, they broke, and now everybody is just stuck on fucking psycho mode, knuckled up, ready to go at anybody at any cost for any excuse. So, if you're to walk in the store without your mask, and now even the walking up the aisle the wrong way, people are like, he walked the wrong way. He's walking the wrong way. Dude, I just want to fucking Stevie kick everybody in that motherfucker, bro.
I got one. Was it last week? Yeah, I got one. I'm still obviously 5-6 feet away from this individual in line, but I wasn't on the fucking X, and they went ballistic.
Well, I
was invading their space. I was maybe a half foot off of it.
Yeah. I mean, I right when I got back, we were hungry as hell, and I went and got Subway. And I feel kind of bad, and not really, though, because it's just my mental.
Ben feels bad.
I was going to say, what
really,
happened
not
since
really,
last time
no.
you were here?
Not really,
His emotions
though.
now?
Well, they're all young girls there, except the one lady who was trying to be a hard ass. So I walked in. I didn't have my mask and shit. It was in my bags and all that, And I wasn't even thinking, looking down. And as soon as I walk in and they see I don't, all of them pop up like prairie dogs from what they're doing. No mask? What do we do? And who's going to be the first to talk to this guy? And I go to order and the lady, here comes the older lady, the bitch one. She's like, do you have a mask? I was like, no, I don't. And she's like, I have this beard that's not really going to protect anything. And she's like, you need to have a mask. I go, no, I don't. Or we can't serve you. I go, yeah, you can. And she steps back and the other girl goes, yeah, we can. We'll do it. So they make my thing and I'm super polite. Yes, please, on everything. She goes to the back to try and one-up me to bring out a mask to hand to me, which I why would you take something from somebody you don't know? Anyway, I go, no, I'm good with that. Thanks. And she's like, oh, he said no to me again. And I was like, thank you. and paid for my shit and left. And they're just like shocked, bro. Like it was like I was murdering kittens in front of them at this while I was standing there, bro. I was completely polite, distance, but like that's the difference in where we were in Florida versus how New York is everywhere, bro. Everywhere. Yeah. People are ready to pull a pistol on you to be like, put your fucking mask on, dude. We're about 8 days away from that, dude.
Yeah, down in Florida,
when you go to Subway, that you wear a $5 face slap T-shirt.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm sponsored.
As it was so damn hot out down in Florida, not only were they not wearing masks, there's very little clothes to be.
Yeah, I support that fully. It's
remarkable. And I don't be too hot this early, but can you give me a real quick if your mom was upset about people not wearing their masks?
I can't believe they're out here looking like that. They don't have any masks on whatsoever. They've got no clothes on. They got no masks on. They're spreading everything. They're showing everything.
I love it.
Oh, shit.
Well, before we get too far, raising a stink while I'm wearing the pink bow tie, asking ourselves why the wrestling world has gone awry. But regardless of the gaffes, how about we have a few laughs and kick things off with Dr. Manbeast's Monday morning monologue. Is that all right with you, gentlemen?
Hot fire, spit it.
All right, here we go. Last week, apparently Darby Allin posted a video on social media where he lit his friend on fire, who then skateboarded down a ramp and landed in a hot tub full of cereal. I can only assume this means that AEW has acquired the rights to MTV's Jackass, and soon we will see Darby Allin versus Steve-O in a big cat death match at the next pay-per-view with that bitch Carol Baskin as the referee.
Love it.
I had to get my last Tiger King joke in. I figured that ship has pretry much sailed.
No, there's never
a last one.
There's never a last Tiger King joke. Go ahead.
Well, it was the last Tiger King joke until the next Tiger King joke. Dave Christ is believed to be done with Impact Wrestling following allegations of sexual misconduct. With his brother out the door, it does make me wonder if Jake Christ might be looking to evolve his character into something more wholesome and family-friendly as we all eagerly await the debut of his new gimmick, Jesus Christ. Extreme Rules now has a subtitle, and it will apparently now be called a horror show. And yet, once again, sometimes the jokes just write themselves. On the latest edition of Grilling JR, Jim Ross discussed how he feels that Donald Trump got the idea for his Make America Great Again hats from seeing how Stone Cold Steve Austin got over during their WrestleMania angle. Now, this also explains the line from President Donald Trump's speech from a recent rally where he said, "You want to talk about your Psalms? You want to talk about your John 3:16s? Well, Trump's 3:16 says, I just whipped your huge covfefe, and also China." Tessa Blanchard's Impact Wrestling run is officially over, guys. I'm sorry. Apparently, though, WWE has already not wasted time in getting in touch. The Wrestling Observer Radio reports that WWE has made contact with Tessa since Impact terminated her contract late last week. When a WWE representative was asked if they were concerned that Tessa may try to hold out on her contract again, Jeff Jarrett said, it'll be fine. And then last but not least, this is going to be a crazy week, guys. According to a report released today by the the other day by the Pro Wrestling Sheet, multiple people who attended the WWE Performance Center are said to have been confirmed to have COVID-19, including in-ring talents. An anonymous roster member was asked if they were certain that so many of their fellow locker room members had the coronavirus, to which they said they weren't only certain, they were COVID-19 positive. And ladies and gentlemen, this has been, once again, Dr. Manbeast's Monday Morning Monologue.
Phenomenal as always. Excellent. Thank you, Beast. Thank you, buddy. Oh, good. Yeah, the COVID scare back in action down there, man. So where everybody's just going nuts. And then they're like, well, New York is better, dude. It's all just tons and tons of bullshit. It's tons and tons, man. So we'll talk about all that shit, I'm sure, dude. But the mental state of the world and how it's going with all this shit is just I don't know what people expect, dude. When they think baseball might reopen and now they're closing beaches down there. We escaped. I mean, I went down there and set off the next wave of everything, and then we got out just in time. And now I'm back here to wreak hell on, the homeland once again.
What I think is nice with baseball is this week they're getting ready to start reporting for their mini camps, and then they're going to kick off the 23rd, 24th, which is nice about it. They've already come out and said, we know our players are going to get it. We can't avoid that. So we're going to be forward about it, and this is how we're going to address it. We're going to take care of them. We're going to make sure they're, we got the top of the line testing. We're going to be the latest advancements and all that. So at least they're not trying to avoid it and act like, oh no, that's not going to happen here. I mean, it's a real life issue. People are going to get this thing. I mean, you just can't go into hiding and stay away from, just the way society works here.
I can. I've done it many times. I've been able to evade a lot of assassinations and, get revenge and payback and escape flawlessly with no issues whatsoever. It's pretty easy for me to do what I have to do.
Well, guys, jump into the headlines here this week. Want to give a couple shout outs to ProWrestling.com for all their great content, but especially to our own William Frito Scoops Alicia.
Killing it.
I talk to him every Sunday night as I'm trying to get prepped here.
Holy shit. I also got to say shout out to obviously Javid and John Hartnett and Blake Troop on their new MMA podcast. Dude, I just had it on the tip of my tongue. What's the title of it? Cage Theory. Thank you. CT, right? CT, Cage Theory, just killing it. And I watched, did a little bit of the UFC watch along, and I went to bed before the main. And I watched the main in the morning. Did you watch the main event of that fight?
Yes.
Of this weekend? Dude, that round, I mean, they call it the right way, but that round 2 was the fucking most insane round I've seen in probably a decade of dudes just standing in the pocket, beating the fuck out of each other. If you want to see a main event quality fight, like, even though I boost everything, the guy who won with his charity, I think I'm going to send $20 to his charity just for the fact I feel like I robbed him based on how fucking hard he got his ass kicked in that fight and that he kicked the dude's ass. It was Hooker versus Poirier, and I won't stooge the finish, but holy shit on a shingle. That's one that was definitely earned payday. But here's something I want is I saw from Fighter Island. They're already posting pictures, stooge pictures. But every dude at the end of that, that cuts their promo, the winner post, is like talking about the fight bonus or don't take my taxes or fucking I should be getting this and just make sure the bonus deposit's there because I saved you because this guy gets paid more than me, so I saved you from his fight bonus, so make sure my tip is in there. Like, dude, they're exposing how fucking shady as fuck that UFC is to their fighters, man, because they just have made it all about the money with these guys now and sold the martial art aspect out on it, bro. Like, every dude who finishes up, I think every one of them, of the winners, got some shit in on the payday, hoping to get the extra money, because if they don't, they'll get fucked out of it in some way. Like, you know what I mean? If they're not mentioning it because they're not taking care of their guys. Surprise, man, Beast promoters not fucking paying people.
Saying Dana is not paying out the fighters?
Something's got to be going on because there's a problem with the cut of the pie where they don't believe that they're getting their shares or, there's some kind of distribution. But even to that, Ben, before this past week, this happened, obviously while you guys were gone, but it was before this last set of the fights that went down. Dana White addressed this situation. I can't recall. I don't have it in front of me because, we're kind of shooting here. But he pretty much came out and said the UFC is not a career, it's an opportunity. So he was trying to dismiss that. He was trying to get around
what
the paydays.
What the fuck's that mean? That's getting to the top of the game. There's no place like, so the opportunity is to what? Then become a star by doing WWE shit and knocking guys out so you can get your own whiskey label, you can get your own fucking clothing label, you can get all that. Is that what he's saying? Is like, even when you work your ass off as a martial artist, it's still about getting to the top to be able to knock somebody out to get marketing and endorsement contracts. That's the new fucking whatever. Is that because what else could he mean by that?
Well, I mean, he's absolutely trying to pass the buck there. I mean,
you get to open your own dojo. You get to open your own dojos. Like, if you're gonna hustle and you're gonna make like 10th Planet and shit, right? Like your own fucking jujitsu mall fucking chain of Cobra Kai's off of your wins, I can see that. But like, dude, if you're fighting at that high level, they got to open the books and fucking see what the money really is and how much they're fucking these guys over, especially when Dana's a known fucking gambling addict and will go blow $1 million. I heard he blew $10 million one night in Vegas, bro.
Wow.
Come on, B. And these guys,
Well,
these guys have got meat hanging off their faces going, make sure I get that fight bonus. I don't want it taxed if you can't. Like, what the fuck, bro? That's not a good look for your company at all, dude.
Right. I agree. And I do think transparency is the key. And that's where, I don't feel necessarily I can take a hard stance because I don't know all the details, but I can give a little aside in that, being involved with OVW over the years, there were two failed concepts. We had the Viper Fight League, which was a mixed martial arts endeavor. And then later on, in recent years, Top Notch Boxing. Both of those went under simply because the payouts for fighters were so high. I'd say they don't deserve it because they certainly do, but I will say, a lot goes into the purses, the payouts, building the sponsorships. And so I think absolutely what you said, the book should be open so we can see how much is being spent on stuff, because no doubt, Dana White is, while he's a martial arts enthusiast, I think above that, he's a businessman. And so I don't know what he's blowing money on. I think, again, transparency in the books would reveal a lot. I'm not saying that the fighters don't have a grievance, because they really might, but I'll also say from the other end, from a business and management standpoint, that even on a lower level, it is extremely expensive when you pay out both winners and losers purses. So I can only imagine at the international global level of mixed martial arts that it has to be even higher. But again, I don't know what these guys are really walking away with or what they're really dealing with, but it does make me curious as to what's really going on as far as the numbers go.
Yeah, for them to be doing that at the end, that just really stood out to me, man. Like that they all had to put that shit over. So, but shocking, the fight game has been run by shady promoters since its inception, bro. And the mob had their hand in it, and everybody else. Why would you think that shit would change, dude? So, like any independent contractor, you're nothing more than an old racehorse when you don't win anymore and they take you out back, put a bullet in you, and on to the next guy, dude. So I hope these guys make money and save money, but they sure seem worried about it. So I don't know if they are or not, bro.
Well, it's the possibility it's so short. I mean, you could have it all taken away from you in one punch. It's not. You got to make sure you get your payday. I think one of the highlights coming out of that story, though, I can't remember the fighter's name, but his reply to Dana's statement there was, "Yeah, I can't wait to play the opportunity mode on the next UFC fight game."
And here's the thing too. A lot of these guys probably are living off not just what they're making on the fights, but sponsorships and things like that on the side too.
Gotcha. To be able to train full time.
And you got to think those opportunities probably are a lot less right now in a global pandemic world. And so they're making most of their money from these fights now. And so, I can see where that, if they aren't, making enough to be able to sustain the lifestyle they've been living the last few years, that is going to be a difficult situation for anyone, really. I think a lot of people can relate to.
Do you think we may see the first ever UFC Money in the Bank where it's just $100,000 hanging above the cage, and it's four guys?
That's your fight. That's your fight island you've been pitching.
Yeah.
Take my money.
Everybody's
Take all
fighting
my
their
money.
way through the island to find this briefcase.
I actually watched on Netflix yesterday while I had it on the background. It was pretty damn good. Let me find it here. Our sport home game. Have you seen this? The new series. It's about sports from around the world, and Colicchio Storico, I guess maybe, because I know Colicchio. It's rugby meets mixed martial. Yeah, no, rugby meets mixed martial arts in a brutally violent Colicchio Storico, a tradition in the sport of Florence, Italy that dates back nearly 500 years. So what they do is they fucking split up Florence into 4 sections. And these guys train, they're gassed up. They're fucking gassed, bro. These Italian guys, they look right out of the Coliseum, dude, all fucking tatted. They're all like nightclub, bouncers and whatever the fuck. And white, red, green, and blue for the sky for Italy, for the flag. That's how they divide it up into Florence. So I think there's 27 guys on a team, and they play one game. They play 2 games. They play the first round, and then the teams that advance 9 days later come back to play the championship. That's it. And they don't get paid or nothing. But those guys, some of them have turned it into endorsement opportunities within Florence and shit, because here's how the game's fucking played. They take a soccer ball, and there's like an 80-yard court, and at the end you throw the ball into the net, but if it misses, the other team gets half a point. So it's about getting it down there, but they square off like 10 guys in the front row, and you just fucking go at it MMA style, punching each other in the face, kicking the fuck out of each other. They go for 50 minutes hard, bro. Like, dudes are clipping each other from behind, fucking getting them in guillotine locks to hold them down, and then the back line plays like rugby, where they fucking throw a soccer ball around to get it close to get to the goal, and then here comes their backline charging and fucking punch you right in the fucking face, pick up the ball, go, dude. They kicking, the guys are going off with broken shins, fucking eye sockets busted, fucking throwing elbows, Muay Thai kicks, bro. It's fucking insane. And I'm thinking we could have a whole league of this shit here, like 10 city league, bro, whether you have that in America. Like, I'd never even heard of that sport, but these, you only can be in it if where you're born in Florence. That's what it is. If you move out of Florence, you can, only people born in that section, in the blue section, the red section, the white in Florence, you're that for life. If you fucking, you
It's
can't
not
play
like
for
a free
any
agency
team.
or anything.
Nope,
like that.
that's it. Like, and it's usually fathers, sons handed down. This shit's been going. The one Caesar said, he goes, too brutal to be a game. It's like a mini war. Too brutal to be a game, you know. And you watch it, and it's rugby with no fucking rules with MMA, dude. It is
like
unreal.
Like Demolition Man or some
It
shit.
pretty much, dude. When you watch it, like, these guys are just getting fucking roided up all year long, Muay Thaiing the fuck out for this one opportunity. And usually the guys who play the first game don't end up playing in the second, because, like you said, you have to have two squads, because it's just too brutal. It's a 50-minute fucking, it's a Broadway MMA fight that you're in it, or else you fucking get your eye taken out and they cart you off the field.
Live watch along coming the Hamin Media Group.
It's on Netflix now. It's the first episode, but I was like, dude, let Dana see this shit. And, like, imagine that with, like, MMA guys, NFL guys, couple soccer players and shit like that. Like, holy shit, bro. It'd be unbelievable in America. Oh, shit. Sorry, I just had to put that over.
The bloodthirst. Well, guys, since you've been away, we're talking about chaos in society. I don't know if you guys picked up on this. It hasn't really been reported everywhere, but there's been a little bit of chaos in professional wrestling when it comes to social media.
This is the first I've heard of this.
Oh, what's going on?
I didn't want to dive too much into all the particular. I know you guys have been talking about last week across all the shows. We've been covering them everywhere on the platform. But there was really something that jumped out to me. I want to get your guys' opinion on it. It's something I noticed even before the speaking out movement, everything erupted, the floodgates open. And I've seen this a lot for the indies that I work for, coming especially from the younger wrestlers. And it's this hashtag wrestling is for everyone. And it's this inclusion that it's all big, one happy group, that everybody's welcome in here. With two vets like yourself, the way you broke in, who you've learned from, the different styles, the different personalities. Is this idea now with this younger group here, and you see it just throughout society, that this inclusion, everyone should be involved, there are no boundaries. Should professional wrestling be for everyone? I mean, or is there a right way to get into this business? There's a right way to learn things, who should be accepted, the mindsets and all this, instead of, now you see so many just fans easily crossing over from buying a ticket to they're involved backstage or in production, things like that. You got all these schools opening up. There's not the proper, learning methods and strategies there. Obviously, through the Speak Out, you led in a slew of just incredibly insane perverts that are just predators, taking advantage of those that had no idea what they were getting into. Should this be more of a closed-knit fraternity or society?
I would say So a short answer, no, it's not for everyone. But just like in life, there's a lot of things that aren't for everyone. You're not going to see me take up training for a marathon, because that's just not something I do. That's not for me. And likewise, wrestling is not for everyone either. I do think I don't want to be quick to say yes, it should be like a fraternity, but I guess like any fraternity or sorority, there are rules and standards and guidelines, and I think there absolutely should be. So I guess in that sense, Yes, I don't think fraternity or sorority in the midst of, hey, it's party time, free for all backstage, but more so of, it's a close knit community where people are looking out for each other and not trying to play political games. But you're the whole system. I mean, the way wrestling has always been, it's always been kind of a political game backstage, and so I think to a large degree, just like we're seeing for society in general right now, really from the top down, there's a lot that needs to change. But I think it ultimately comes down to human decency, which you think would be inherent, but apparently, as we're seeing amongst all these stories, it is not, at least in the world of wrestling. But again, we're seeing this in a lot of different places, whether it be sexual misconduct in wrestling or in other sports or in movies and television entertainment. Or disrespect for people of color. It just seems like human decency and respect has kind of flown out the window lately. I'm not sure why, other than people have just had enough of lies and bullshit.
Beast, you mentioned there, like you compared, like you wouldn't train for a marathon. It's not going to be your thing there. I mean, inside of that, a lot of people say, okay, that's the commitment, an actual competition. Now we've got this mindset from so many individuals that wrestling is more of that cosplay. We're going out there and playing, superhero, that it should be an inclusion for everybody, no matter what kind of conditioning level you're at, what kind of skill set you're at. I think it's more of that mentality of participation awards that everyone should. And that's what I want to get to. I want to stay away more of all of this, the sexual misconduct stuff here. But is it the reason that everybody is kind of getting a piece of this pie? Why wrestling is arguably at an all-time low?
I don't know. What do you think, Ben?
Well, wrestling already is for everybody. If you would have gone to OVW and paid your dues, you would look around and there's, rest in peace, Sweet Stevie doing the gay gimmick with the booty shorts. There's Dre Blitz, who has a learning disability, but is probably the most athletic guy I've ever seen in the ring. There's two white guys who you look like you could look through them if you held them up to the light. You know what I mean? There's some Arabs over there. There's a short girl. There's a girl with big gimmicks who's got them just because the office wanted to. There's some kids who look like Marilyn Manson who have no body or whatever reason for being in the ring. There's a guy who weighs 98 pounds who dresses and paints himself like the Ultimate Warrior and named Fang, and the kids absolutely love him. Oh, there's a guy who looks just like every frat guy that you wanted to punch in the face, but then he'll go and put on a lucha mask and become somebody that the kids absolutely love. So I don't know where the fuck people aren't included. It's about paying your dues, going to the right place, and then sticking to it. And a lot of those people are my brothers and sisters that I loved and came up with. Maybe of those 30, 10 are still in the business. But I chain wrestle with black women. I chain wrestle with white women. I chain wrestle with Hawaiian dudes. I chain wrestle with Iranian and Lebanese dudes. I've chain wrestled with black dudes from Detroit. I chain wrestled with black dudes from Philly. Like, there is no fucking keeping you out, bro. There is no, I'm not going to work with him or her. The only reason I'm not going to is if they're, or the Mexican dudes, Los Locos, whoever, is if they're hurting me. And even then, I'm going to receipt back. It's a trust and a brotherhood, and it absolutely is a fraternity. What do you want? Stage moms and shit? People say these things that are blanket statements, but they don't know what the fuck is going on, because the truth is we have to create a reality, a false reality that people spend their money on to lose themselves in. And sometimes it's political of what exactly is going on in society is a mirror of it. But this fact that anybody's locked out because of size, this, that, or the other is bullshit. They're locked out because they don't want to get off their ass, crack their fucking backs on the mat to learn how to do this shit, go puke in the goddamn bucket over there, and then come back and work out for another hour when you're not an athlete, right? And learn the psychology, do the tape review, learn how to market yourself, get out. They think they're held out because somebody's got something against them. The only person who's got anything against them is them for not doing the work that it takes to make yourself one of the PWI 500 names that fucking can get booked on a very small slew of shows across the board. Otherwise, you're out as a semi-indie goof having to fucking make your own name. And if you don't know how to market yourself, how are you ever going to get over? So, well, they keep me out. They keep me out. No, you keep yourself out. Now, if it comes to pervs and, you know, quid pro quo for spots, and like you said, that's a different argument. But these blanket statements of let everybody in, let the marks in. Okay, dude, we're all marks at OVW. Nobody shows up at OVW non-contract and goes, I fucking know it all and I'm ready to be champ. Everybody's a mark, dude. So you have to humble yourself and learn. And more schools isn't a problem. Go to Gangrels. Go to Matt Sydal and Silvio. Go to fucking Booker T. Go to Nick Dinsmore. Go to Monster Factory.
Yeah.
Go
Dr.
to
Tom.
like Dr. Tom. Like the days of being like, oh, I got to stay at OVW or this for just the TV time. Sure, that's an awesome bonus. But now, if you have a wider scope of what wrestling is and you're not just a mark for yourself in your little 3-territory thing that you work in upstate New York between Rochester, Binghamton, and Syracuse or whatever, then fucking that's all you're ever going to be. You're not going to be looking like a global property. Nobody's going to see you. So when they come to you and say, oh, you trained at Dr. Tom's? Yeah, I was there for 3 months. Oh, I was at Gangrels for 6. Cool. And then somebody like, dude, how is this dude? Oh, he's got a good attitude. He's just hungry and what? Now you're off someplace, but they want to fucking cunt off and act like anybody owes them something when they were fans and like they're locked out. They don't have the dedication to pack up, move 800 miles to Chicago to go study improv for 6 years, perform it at the highest level, then pack up and go move another 400 miles to go humble yourself and do it for another 3 years, crack your back. Then you start putting in your fucking 10,000 hours of application. That's what it takes. It takes 16 to 19 years before you're discovered of putting in the work. And if you're not willing to do that on anything, I don't care if that's music, I don't care if it's your dance crew, you know, your business plan, your whatever it is, that's what it takes in this life. And anybody who's not willing to put in that work is just crying the fucking blues because they didn't have what it takes. And there's a lot of people we came up with who have exactly what it takes, who paid their dues, who are better wrestlers than me, but they don't know or don't want to do those other extra steps to go apply what they paid for. They reach their pinnacle and they love it, and I love them for it, and they're fine with that. The rest of us are trying to move on to get one of those coveted 80 to 90 spots where you can live the rest of your life comfortably based on the work that you did paying off. Some people have a lot of different things holding them back. Kids, wives, ex-wives, moving, and that closes this window on their dream. But doesn't mean they're any less better than I am or Man Beast are at. It's just we're pushing forward, bro. We just got to keep going until we get what we can.
And I'd say to piggyback off what Ben said, I do believe it is the responsibility of these wrestling schools to test the individuals and make sure they're mentally going to be tough enough to go on for 2 reasons. One, it behooves them because they're going to go on, and if they can't handle the stress of the situation, then it's like, oh well, someone that came out of XYZ school, that they mentally just weren't ready. And second of all, it's to the benefit of the wrestlers too, because if you want to be able to be successful, like what Ben's saying, you got to have the grit, the determination, regardless of what comes your way. When I trained through OVW, I'll be clear, I do not feel that I was abused, but I was, there were circumstances where I was beat up on in the ring or cussed out backstage or ribbed mercilessly, and I took it as, well, this is part of paying your dues and understanding that, in other places, you might get the same treatment or worse. And nothing was done, I felt like, out of mean spirit. It was truly to test me. And if anything, oddly enough, I feel weirdly appreciative of it. Again, I was never, taken sexually advantage of, and I never was physically assaulted. Again, when I say I was beat up on, it was safe shots in the ring, getting tied up in the ropes by some of the guys, and everyone chops you a bunch of times, and your chest is blood right at the end of it, stuff like that. But then I kept showing up, and then after a while, people stopped beating up on you and say, what, this kid's not going to leave. He's going to keep coming back. And you show that mental grit and that toughness, and that's how you build respect in the locker room and build a reputation over, hey, this guy can take it. This guy's going to keep showing up, and he's professional, or she, and just keep showing up. Now, there is a fine line between, abuse and just testing your athletes physically and mentally. And I think maybe there needs to be more guidelines and delineation on that. Unfortunately, it seems like, but I absolutely feel like it is the responsibility of these schools to be able to mentally and physically test these men and women to their limit, because otherwise, if they don't from the beginning, then they might get to that top stage and realize that they just can't handle that environment. Because I feel like at the higher level, it gets even worse when the political games start getting played that much more, and more money is at stake and more livelihoods are at stake. It becomes a whole different ball game. And unless you have that mental toughness and grit, it's going to be hard to survive.
It's a play, and everybody gets jealous of not being the lead as well. That's the thing. Like, this whole thing is nothing more than a big play all the time, and it's your cast. And you're going to have some people who are the weird tech people interacting with other people. You know, like if you've ever done a musical or a high school play or anything like that, you're going to have these little cliques and the popular kids and the one out. And Man Beast was probably alcoholically assaulted as much as he was, physically assaulted, with hazing. And you're also dealing with testosterone laden people who want to live a rock star lifestyle, and they party and bullshit and want to go out, and they put time into their bodies, so they're vain, and they want people to, some are Anthony vain, and some, that they want people to see them out there at the club too. So you're putting yourself out there as a sexual Adonis. What do you expect to happen? People can no longer be babes in the woods on that side of like, geez, I came to a show to watch super jacked guys roll around in their underpants together. There's nothing sexual about this, and it's all good, wholesome. Like, they can't have it both ways, and they will not have it both ways. So these arguments are in vain as far as I'm concerned, because the people who want an open door policy, what the fuck does that mean? Welcome in. Give me your $2,000 for the year. I will now read you the new way that things are, that no one will use their power of sexuality to hold over somebody else for anything like that. Now let's go train until you fucking puke and you smack your head off the fucking mat 15 times today because you're stupid and you didn't tuck your chin. And then tomorrow we're going to practice slams. And then on the third day, we'll do chops. And on the fourth day, we'll see if you're fucking still around. Like, what about that is not inclusive? Everybody from black, white, Chinese, fucking male, female is going to get the exact same shit. And if you fucking can hang and bang, then fine. Your mom's not going to want to sit there and watch that for 2 hours. Are you mad because I might say the word bitch, or like not call you a bitch, but like people are bitching about this shit all the time, or I'm going to swear. Now I got to watch that. Well, if you're coming here and you can't take that, then doors closed. That's the line of like, if you can't take some language, you know what I mean? We're not here.
Kind of hit on what I was
going
to ask you there, Ben. Like, where do we draw that line? Especially
Rip got fired for calling Lita cunt
with the bullying,
right? Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that story.
Well, that's like a long time ago. Like, she's the one who blew him in, and is she wrong? No. Should he be called like Rip? These cunts out here, like he'll still be like that. And it's just words. That's the thing. Sticks and stones.
He's called me a cunt too.
Oh, call me you fat cocksucker, like Not like I'm over there, got a dick in one hand and a Subway in the other, fucking doing both. Like, oh my God, he called me out. Like, dude, this is just the old school Rocky training. And if you want to go get the best education from old school, is you're not going to make 60 and 70-year-olds change. So you got to just soften your fucking ego, or go find somebody like Silvio, who's a phenomenal trainer, who has what you're looking for, who is going to coddle you a little bit more and not be as hard on you. Me, I like that fucking old school shit. And that's because that's what I'm about. You know what I mean? I come from a long line of blue collar motherfuckers. So I've been hearing swearing from masters since I was 6 years old. Lumberjacks don't tune it down and be like, oh, the kid's around. Like, like any of that shit. So that's nothing to me. And I also agree with a lot of these psychologists, people who swear at a high level. It's an artistry. It definitely is a higher level of thinking sometimes to get those adjectives in a tapestry of swears like some old man can weave together. So, especially if you can make your point at a high level. I love that shit, man. And if that's too hard for some people and their little, mommy tucks me in and I'm still 15 years old, well, fuck off then. you're not going to last in any business, let alone the wrestling business. You're just not set up for success in life.
Well, let me ask you, gentlemen, this. Traditionally, professional wrestling, as we talked about the fraternity, it was, it was a man's sport. That's what the locker room largely consisted of. Now we've got.
You mean it was a man sport? Oh, sorry.
But damn it! But now I lost my thread. Okay, so but now that you have these concerns over misconduct or how things are being taken, perceived, how you need to handle diverse classes that are coming in here. I just want to get yours. And Beast, I mean, hell, you probably got some great insight on this one about relationships in the locker room. Now that more than ever, we've got, that it's almost damn split, especially on the indies, you see where it's getting very close, maybe like a 70-30, 60-40, men and women more now interacting with one another. I mean, how should a promotion even approach this?
Relationships, like people who are together in the locker room, you mean?
Yes. Especially, now in WWE, look, go top to bottom. The top stars are all knocking boots.
Well, that's because you're on the road and you're in the frat with people like that, and everyone's a sexual being. But Man Beast might be able to say differently, but here's how I do my business is because he married a worker. But to me, I seen it blow up too many times in comedy and theater and in wrestling. Is you don't shit where you eat is how I feel about it. And I'm not trying to say, you know what I mean? I don't bring that to the table. My wife's very, she knows it all, but she's removed from it all. And then the other part is you don't bring your wife around the boys because they will try and bang your wife just to fucking break you up for entertainment. I've seen that 4 times go from.
Only 4?
four from together, married to divorced. Of fucking people fucking around in like a 5 to 6 year time period, bro. So those are just 2 rules. Like if you're about this business, then you're not gonna let your dick, dictate what's going on for a chick that is also a wised up worker. You're not gonna be able to fool her on any shit. You're not gonna be able to pull some shit, and it always goes bad, especially when usually the chick is the one that gets over because she's hot and she was with a dude who was whatever. She gets more shine. Now the dude's left behind, and that's fucked up, right? Like now they're straining on the relationship that way, and it can go the opposite way too. So that's just something I don't suggest to anybody. And like also they say don't go into business with your family. That can end real badly. So it's just some hard, fast rules to live by because you're increasing your chances for failure. You're not really serious about this. And even Rip, who's been divorced and, he's lost a lot of his friends, Rip would say, he goes, this is your life. You only get so many chances. You can get another wife. You can get this. You're only going to get this. This is your life. What are you going to do with it? Are you going to let somebody else hold you back and hold you down when you have a dream you're pursuing? And like I say, short of leaving your kids and family, just in the dust and being a total selfish shitbag. But at the same time, there's something to be said for that of like, fuck, I might come to a realization that I'm no good and I got to go do this. Some people it just drives them, but this is your spin around the sun. And some people will do the right thing and sacrifice the whole thing because they think that's how they define themselves. I'm Timmy's mom or whatever the fuck. And they give up, the rest of their life for that shit. I could never do that. And I have to fucking be on my vision quest and what yours is. And you can live that at different levels of involvement while being the best Timmy's mom. But were you a writer? Were you a painter? Were you a marathon runner? And now you gave that shit up and there's a big hole missing inside of you. You got to fucking strive for those moments for yourself where it's like, I am in this moment in time is about me and everything I fucking put into this is paying off. So I don't know, man, that's really how I look at it all. And if you're doing any less than that, then you're kind of wasting your time in the time that you have, or you don't realize how precious the time you have is because you haven't lost something like a best friend, a parent, a to be like, fuck, I got to do the most now. And if anybody's holding me back, peace, sayonara. I wish you well on your trip. You know what I mean? But I can't slow down my ride. I'm willing to bring you along and go right side by side you. But aside from that, dude, there's no weights that I'm going to carry on me anymore.
Beast?
Very well said. I just to echo, I think, unfortunately or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, I guess there's two sides to every coin. But I feel unfortunate that I lost my parents and aunts and uncles at a young age, but that also reinforced the things that Ben was just talking about. Is we only have so much time here, and I think a lot of people get trapped up in, well, society thinks I should, do this certain thing, or my mom and dad think I should do this certain thing, or my wife or husband thinks should do this certain thing. But at the end of the day, it's really about what do you want to make of your life. And if you're not happy with how your life is going, ultimately that's on you to make that change and to make that difference. If it is more valuable to you to make your wife or husband happy, or your parents or society happy, if that truly is more valuable to you, then by all means, then bend over backwards to make them happy. If that's what makes you happy and makes you feel valued. But for me, I feel that I have a lot more things that I want to achieve personally that supersede and I have more value towards than succumbing to whatever society or my family feels like I should do.
Yeah, whatever your thing is, man. Like, I'm not the most religious dude, but I think of this guy who goes to Dippin' Donuts and takes his time and gets donuts from them, and then goes out to the homeless and they come and get, fresh donuts that they couldn't either get to because of lack of car or what have you, and on a cold morning and free coffee, bro. And that's what drives him. You know what I mean? That's his 10,000 hour. And who knows, that person who might be down on their luck 3 months from now because they've been able to save on a hot meal or something, or have that come back around, and that dude's on his way up. He might never reach the top, but you never know that one act of like that. What I'm saying is whatever drives you. Mine might be a little more selfish and stupid, whether it's phony wrestling or media or whatnot. Yeah, start with why, I
always put this book over. It is a good book to read, but what it comes down to is, what is your why? What is the thing that drives you? What is it that motivates you, inspires you? That is what you put your focus towards, and nothing else. As long as you do that, you'll be successful.
And everything's with a healthy dose, everything in moderation. You can be driven, but you can't, don't close yourself off to where it's going to affect your relationships, because that's kind of self-sabotaging as well. You got to have a healthy perspective of it all. And I think, but I know, marrying in the business, that's a weird thing in WWE, because you could say Rusev and Lana were punished. You can say maybe Sarah Rowe and her husband, the Viking Raider, were punished. You can keep going back and back and back. Brock, you know what I mean? Maybe two of people doing what they want to do without permission, and them being vindictive. Will that ever stop? If it messes up creative, and as long as there's political people in power with ego and vindictiveness, then no, because there's always going to be directors who just are douchebags, I guess.
And the sad part of that is it should not mess up creative, because the best stories come out of what's given to you in real life and taking advantage of it. But when you're trying to force a narrative or storyline that has nothing to do with people's real life characteristics or who they are as people, then that's when, I don't think you get the best performances out of people when they aren't really feeling and believing what they're doing. That's a whole other side conversation.
But we know Lana and Lashley aren't married. We know Pepper and Cherry, whatever, Blade and Bunny. We know from Impact that they were married. They came in together, and now we have them split off in a side piece wherein it's been established they were married before. And it's just not. Things like that are very foolish. They're very foolish to do with your audience in trying to go write some weird alternate history.
Very well said. Gentlemen, let's talk about a potential destination for pro wrestling's most talked about free agent. Of course, I'm talking about Tessa Blanchard, the recent coming out, the falling out, where if there was a fire.
Did WWE really reach out to her?
Yeah, we've got
what
news
the
there.
Fuck?
And it was very preliminary, and we're not getting that this even came from anybody of significance.
It was Wrestling Observer that reported this.
Yeah, they was the one that broke it there, and it's since picked up these legs here. But it pretty much what I can gather from the different reports, this could have been just the grapevine. Hey, what kind of talk would you be interested in? What are you open for? Just some very preliminary conversation. To start with the WWE side of this, though, one of my takes here, without having especially Arn and Tully available, I mean, does this thing even have could it hit its even minimal potential? I think for the general WWE universe, you come in and just introduce Tessa Blanchard, they're going to be okay. Who is she and what the hell is a Blanchard?
Well, the thing is, Impact, I feel, got a lot of good press, even though I feel Ben and I could talk at length about how they dropped the ball on it. But I do feel like they did get a lot of good press when they made Tessa the champion, and a lot of people that stand up for social justice and women's rights. They were like, all right, finally. And again, we could talk at length about ways they dropped the ball on it.
I don't think they got any press out of it.
Really? I see. Now, I will say, as someone that was outside of the bubble, so to speak, now granted, Impact was OVW was developmental for Impact, but I still didn't really follow the product. But I did know that Tessa Blanchard was champion prior to them coming in and doing the shows for us, just because I had heard through the grapevine that, Impact has a women's world champion now. So maybe it wasn't as big a press as one would think, but I will say, someone that was outside the bubble and didn't hear a lot of outside wrestling news just because I wasn't seeking it out, that was something that I was clear. I'd like, okay, wow, this is a big deal apparently. So, maybe not, but that was my thoughts, is maybe, that positive press, and obviously right now there's a lot of bad press in wrestling, and it could be a situation where, maybe they felt bringing her in would help give them a little more, I guess, light in a time of a lot of dark stories going around.
Well, Tessa, WWE thoughts?
Didn't she blow her shot at NXT before because of rough attitude? Sure, the money is in her versus Charlotte, and I wouldn't doubt that Tully would jump ship like that at the chance to have his WrestleMania moment with Flair in one corner and her in the other this year. But there's going to be another sea of backlash from Allison Kay, Havoc. All of them are going to come out of the woodwork, and especially in the Black Lives Matter movement, where you have MVP's storyline, you have Keith Lee, you also have plenty of others. Now you're the Mark Henry demanding Cornette apologize, and then you have her dropping the N-bombs in New Japan, dude. Plus whatever else bad business she's done with Impact. I don't know what the deal is, whether they owed her money and she didn't cut the promos. Wouldn't be shocked there, but at the same time, just strange and bad biz all the way around. The money is in her versus Charlotte, but it's a PR nightmare, and I think that
you're right. I forgot about the racist statement thing.
Yeah,
you're right.
I think the WWE doesn't even know really what's going on. They might have heard that she's done with Impact, but they don't know about all the bad biz and shit, man. And who knows what kind of whirlwind she's in or on down there in Mexico with Daga right now. I don't know, bro. Like, it's way more trouble than it's worth than to try and set all that up just to build the one dream match with Tully in her corner and that, man.
And let's be clear, the report said WWE reached out. We don't know if this means a company representative reached out, or it was just one of Tully's old buddies that was saying, hey, why don't you play it smart and stay down there and let your contract lapse, and we'll bring you in. You know what I mean? It could have been something as this wasn't an official thing. Just someone was like, hey, we might be able to work something out with you, and told her to lay low. I don't know. I'm speculating, but I'm just saying that there's other things that may be at play. It might not have been an official reaching out. It might have just been a casual conversation.
It seems like this was very low level, very casual conversation where, it just didn't come from, directly from the desk of Triple H or, anybody like that or Vince. So it seems very low. Now, Ben, when you were talking about, though, this potential backlash.
I heard it was actually Nikki Cross that reached out. She's the one doing the contract negotiations.
Nikki.
Through Asuka. Asuka's is the one who's really dictating the terms.
I've been in some interesting Nikki Cross conversations this week.
Nikki Cross and
totally defending her.
How'd you like to hear a Nikki Cross and Asuka book reading for an hour where they just trade back pages back and forth? That'd be phenomenal.
What do they got to lose? Throw those both on commentary.
Dude,
right, give us an alternative version on the network for any of the programming. But with this Tessa stuff, could this, in a weird way, we've all worked in public relations, all that, and we've been in spots where you got to put a twist on things. Could AEW, because you got Arn and Tully, you're going to be pushing for her to potentially pick up a contract there. Could AEW, being the social justice wrestling promotion they are, could they put a spin on this? This is us giving people young individuals. We're not going to give up on the future, second chances. We're the promotion that's going to reestablish bridges, and we're going to make people better. what kind of gives this to me is, recently we've seen with Sammy Guevara, who's been missing a couple weeks, and he's donating his payday now to some charitable causes for some comments he made on a podcast or some interview when he's 19 years old about seeing Sasha Banks at the Performance Center, and she looked so good that, he would rape her or whatever, paraphrasing there. But even Cody just recently comes out and tweets, Sammy will return and he will be a better professional wrestler and a better man when he does. Could this be that ultimate, we are the heroes, Tony Khan, I'm here to save this young youth of this tremendous young talent, the future of pro wrestling? Could they use that spin to bring her in?
No. She's dead in the water, man, as a property as far as I'm concerned with them. They want it, but that's way too much heat for them. And if my stooge reports are right, there's more to fall on them higher up. In all of this, there's about to be a second wave, and people who've already been accused, more bigger names are going to come out against them. So I think we're far from out of the woods, and I think for that AEW to sign them when they know even more could drop on them unless they get through it, kayfabe. But then, I don't know what the actual allegations are. I know who they're against, and I know from high-level sources that if it comes out, it's all over. It's all over. But I'm not the one to sing and be like, I heard this about this person. I don't know what they did, but I heard it's going to drop on them. But there is drops coming possibly, and people who've already been thrown under the bus, more accusers are going to come out and tap dance on them, which will do further damage to other name properties, right? As their names are going to keep coming up, it's just going to be more hitting them right in the black eye that's already there. So we're just sitting in the cut, man. I'm not here to try and tap dance on anybody who's been made a victim, but there's some people who deserve to get got, and what you know about them is only 1/10 of maybe some of their infractions. And furthermore, those are going to come out. So we'll just sit here and report it like we do. And then if there's opportunity to be part of a solution for a company that's hurting and needs to do a reset, we're in a position to have the right people who are trusted, who can pick up the ball going forward, because they're going to need them. You're going to have these holes to fill, and there's going to be very few people who have the experience and the knowledge and the ability to hit the ground running. And there's probably a pool of about 9 of us that I can name right now.
Beast, anything?
I would say, I would agree with Ben. I think it's very unlikely for Tessa. The only thing, to just play devil's advocate, that I think could give her that opportunity is a similar situation with happened with Guevara. If she were to announce that she's taking, sensitivity training or something, that seems to be the new thing. If people are taking these extra steps, then now they're woke, and they can have the opportunity, which, to me, I feel like, if it's inherent in you as a person, it's always going to be there to some extent. You can try to curb it, but I feel like, that what's the best word to say? I guess that attitude towards people, those feelings towards people, they still generally are there. You can take all the sensitivity training you want and learn how to maybe not say those certain things, but that should be inherent in the first place.
That's fine, but let's talk about behavior. Now we're talking about fake behavior modification to placate an audience instead, so you can have a job. Look how far down the rabbit trail we are. What happens when she's got to come face to face with Big Swole backstage, or the fact that she's now had a bad attitude at NXT supposedly, and that's why she didn't get signed. Then this shit with New Japan hanging over her head there, not a good look. Doesn't do business for Impact on the way out after they make her the first woman world champion as a woman, and that ends badly. Black eye on women's wrestling again. Well, shouldn't have gave it to him. Look how it ends up in the end of the day, right? All women kind of embarrassed off of that. Now you're going to bring her in as a legit thing just because she's fucking Tully's daughter, to be like, let's save the women's division. What women's division? The one where they hurt each other and all the top 3 girls are out? And who's she going to fight? What's the big money there for Tessa? Oh, boy. And the PR nightmare that goes along with it. It just, X doesn't equal, the rest on this, man. did bad biz, and there's no real payoff that it's going to be. WWE maybe too, because they'll be tone deaf to all this other shit, but with AEW, that's a nightmare waiting to happen, bro.
Well, I think too, as we talk about it out loud, even if you're going to go out and approach it as, hey, we're helping her, we're bettering her life, we're enhancing her as a young individual, I think it kills all of her heat for the persona on air, because she's supposed to be that badass nonsense, and now you're going to be showing these completely two sides of her. I mean, no one's going to buy into that shit.
All that shit is lip service, and everybody can see it. You know what I mean?
And
what are the odds that she's going to do, say she did get signed, now we have 4 or 5 acts of bad behavior, and then an 8-week sensitivity training course. What do you think is more likely to happen? The repeat of the bad behavior that brought you there for 20 some odd years, or that 8 weeks of golden knowledge that you've now attained that you're going to apply going forward, dude? If anybody can't see through that bullshit, you're a total mark. You know what I mean? Like, even the Sammy Guevara shit is just a bunch of bullshit lip service. Jimmy Havoc, all that shit too, bro. Like, this is wrestling. It's our job to fool you. It's our job to take your money. It's that's what we pride ourselves on, not being like, I'm sensitive to the fans' needs, and I've put on the best show for them. No, dude, I want to make you scared. I want to slap you in the face. I want you to be such a mark because I'm such a heel that you'll come up and buy my shit, even though I shouldn't be out there selling it. I want to get a storyline over long-term business so I can make some baby faces and elevate a company and get guys over and become a top draw for you. So people keep coming back to see the storyline, not, oh, I hope everybody's having a good time in the locker room because that's the most important thing of all. Fuck out of here.
That absolutely seems to be the tagline for AEW.
Wrong. Yeah, how's that going for you when NXT just beat you by 12% out of nowhere? How well is that working out?
I just want you guys to know, for the record, I'm just here to have fun.
We're having a blast. We're having a blast. Stephanie McMahon on personality-driven content being key to growing WWE's female audience. Speaking during the Sports Pro Insider Series, the WWE Chief Brand Officer revealed nearly 40% of the audience for the company's core programming is female. However, McMahon also said that female viewership percentage has increased on other platforms since rolling out content such as Total Divas and Total Bellas reality shows, which tell stories of some of WWE's prominent female talent. To quote some quotes here from her, we saw an increase in our female audience in different platforms and different channels, she said. The 40% stayed for our core programming, but Total Divas and Total Bellas, the female viewership went through the roof on YouTube, social media. Our female viewership has also increased. She goes on to continue here. Women love action, but I think it's also they really love the stories. They love the characters. They love the drama. Women need a reason to watch more so than men, I think. So the more you care, the more you can get your female audience engaged in the character, in the story. They care more. They care about who's going to win. They care about who's going to lose. It's really the storytelling that captures people. I think that's one of the reasons our female viewership is so high.
Yeah, great statement. I wanted to put over in the chat, though they're correcting me, and maybe I missed this headline, so appreciate you guys at twitch.tv/conspiracy horseman. I see, who is it? Wonderstruck and Darren both putting over that. Big Swole actually said she would mediate a truce between La Negra and Tessa. I mean, cool. I didn't know that info, so good on her to put business first above that, and maybe they're closer friends, and maybe Tessa got caught saying some shit. Like I say, this is always hearsay with the news. I just know as a promoter and whatnot, I'm going to go, oh, she did bad biz there. Oh, that's there too. That's this, that, and the other. It just doesn't work out, in my opinion, to be like, now chances are everybody fails upward in wrestling. So she'll probably be world champ by September. So,
well, even with that for Swole, I mean, you talk about, hey, get yourself over, selling it right. That's the perfect maneuver, right?
Smart.
Now she's going to build that. She's the one to truly build that bridge. Guess who's going to be highlighted in those big programs with Tessa?
Yeah, absolutely, bro. Absolutely. Well, you know, and if we get to that point, but like I said, is a phony wrestling match worth when Allison Kay and Havoc and fucking they all come out of the woodwork, bro? And I said this on the Friday locker room. Here's where you wanted to go back to the all-inclusive thing. I'll get to the Steph thing in a minute. Because that's like her saying we write a show a year out when we know that's not it. And it is hard to retain the female demographic, so they're smart in doing it in the spin-off content. Absolutely. Sorry, I fucking lost my train of thought where I was going right before that.
Well,
sorry. Go ahead. I was just going to say, I said this on the Friday locker room. This is going to have the opposite effect on the indies, all this speaking out movement. And no promoter is going to double their liability worrying about microaggressions from a integrated female locker room, or actually a segregated female locker room, because they'll all want a separate away from the guys, but all the equal respect. But, definitely we have to be away from them. If anything happened with a fan, it's a microaggression. Now your whole company, indies run on a pube of being able to fucking make it or break it almost every show. And one bad thing like that, you're done and shut down. So why would you develop a women's division where it's such everyone's walking on eggshells that they could get hashtag speaking out against them because somebody even wants to make an allegation that couldn't even be real? Guess what, dude? If I'm a promoter, there is no more women's division in my shows. There's maybe a highlighted match of XW.
Either that or you split it off. You have your male show and your women's show.
You have
like
one
old school Catholic schools. Split up the boys and the girls if they can't play together.
But you'll have one women's show here. You'll have the 2CW Girls Grand Prix where everybody walks on eggshells. And now the opposite will be true. The girls wanted to be taken so seriously that they pushed to become world champion. And then in the end, they couldn't even cut a promo to get to like do business to hand off the title. Like that's how catty it became. Now that's their view to the world. They've taken it all that way. Now it's going to swing back the other way. They're going to be only performing for the tape trader, masturbator, perv audience because they made themselves too much of a liability that could shut down shows. They're going to get marginalized. Their bookings are going to go down. There will be a couple like super woke, Chicago feds or in New England, but most of them who run, guys are going to go, no way am I taking that risk, bro. They're going to lose
financially. You can't take that risk.
No.
For most of these promoters.
Nope.
And I got into a conversation on Twitter about this. Some people were, well, we need, as you were talking about them, we need separate locker rooms. And I chimed in. I said, well, what do you mean, like a separate hallway? Because, most of these small indies, that's what they're running on. You're lucky to even have that as a locker room. I've seen shows where you're changing in your car. We're bringing you through the back door here. And I said, do you want to go to just gender exclusive shows? Would that be a solution for you? But I've worked on, not helping like booking or anything, but just doing the promotional work for those. They're hard as hell to sell. And then you're worried about what kind of fan you're attracting to it. Or are they just there as skeevy perverts? How they're going to, show any kind of respect to the talent there. You do worry about those risks. And especially as a small promotion to put so much financial out there on the line.
Well, I would say to those promoters, and I know it's hard to find good buildings. I'll say as someone that helped handle previously when I was with OVW, helped handle PR as well as backstage issues. Myself and my wife, so that way we could both have a male and female perspective. And I will go ahead and put it out there if there are any promoters or wrestlers that have any issues, and you want to reach out to someone just for advice or bouncing stuff off of, please feel free to reach out, bookthedoctor@gmail.com. Or if you're more comfortable talking to a female, you can talk to my wife, who again also has years of experience and can also help to I guess delineate or help resolve or work through issues. You can reach out to her at Seriously Brittany on social media, either Instagram or Twitter. Probably Instagram would be the easiest way. But to that point, what I would say to those promoters, if you still want to have those shows, and unfortunately I agree with Ben, I think it is going towards eventually it's going to split, have men and female or male and female shows. But, it just comes down to planning. You don't book a building until like one of the things I made sure with OPW is they had to have a locker room for the men and they had to have a locker room for the women. If they didn't, then we didn't run at that building. And it just takes a little bit of extra steps.
Why would you do that, though? That's my point.
Have a checklist.
That's my point. Why would you do that?
When you book your building, they have to sign a contract basically for the gate split. And then also we have to have certain number of things. And it's not much. It's like we have to have room to set up the ring. and put in the ring. We have to have male and female locker rooms, and then I think there's one more thing.
But that's the thing. You're
But
booking
actually, I have a
yourself
whole
out of
checklist
buildings.
of how to set up a show. And so that's what I was just getting at. If any promoters do want to at least have a little bit of extra, I guess, guidance as far as making sure they aren't going to run into any problems, then at least throwing that out there. But
You're booking yourself out of You're
OVW.
booking yourself out of buildings because of you have to have this to appease the social justice, Me Too, speaking out movement. So guess what? No more girls' locker rooms. Guess why? No more girls on the show. Now we have 3 more buildings to run. Guess what? The girls weren't really a draw or ticket sellers anyway, because they don't want to do bra and panties matches. They don't want to do sexualized stuff, which is what people want. Fantasy. We are in the business of bringing fantasy. Sure, do we want a Xena warrior princess? Absolutely we do on our show, but you guys were all stuck together and you wanted it so bad to play both don't slut shame me and treat me like a man, but you can't have it both ways. And because of that, now you're off the show, and we can run 3 more buildings at a lower price because I don't have to put up with this shit that's a headache I never should have had to deal with to begin with. See what I'm saying? It's nothing personal. It's nothing like I want to kill women's wrestling. That's just how a promoter has to think, so he doesn't go under 1,500 on the next show and is spending his time defending some bullshit down the road based on this, that, or the other, dude. That is just how it works.
Let's try to tie these stories together here with a little strategy then, because even to throw in here, I had another headline that was kind of looking to pop in here. You bring up the bra and penny matches. Then Gail Kim recently spoke out, how she felt kind of victimized, and she felt she didn't have a voice and pressured into back in the day. You had to participate in those sorts of matches or you're going to be either squashed away or just missed from the company. And we're talking about this, looking at the buildings. It's hard for a small indie to go approach any kind of venue, and you start talking about professional wrestling, you get this deer in the headlight looks like you want to do what here? I mean, you got to do a hell of a sell job on some of these larger venues that are even going to be able to hold wrestling, let alone worry about locker rooms and, what's going on there. Stephanie's talking about the WWE audience reaching 40%. And you gentlemen work indie shows, you look around, just sure as hell that doesn't seem evident to me. I mean, they're not going to these local attractions. I mean, how can all that be tied together? Can it be?
They're going to 40% demographic in their women's on wrestling based off of the reality shows.
Well, she's saying their core content, but she's saying that like Total Divas and Total Bellas are feeding the women into.
Yeah, I would believe, but it's bullshit because the Bellas aren't on that. Maybe Total Divas is a little bit, but I'd say everything I've seen in my 10 years of being online, really looking at analytics of wrestling and wrestling videos, it's a 90%, 89 to 90% male audience, 10 to 11% female. So a 40% uptake. See, here's how they juke the numbers. They may say they were up 40%. Well, what does that mean over last year? Right? That's how
they're saying that right now their base is 40% out of that pie is women watching.
That's bullshit.
Now,
that's bullshit.
Numbers, but okay, but it's been.
She also said they write the show a year out. This Undertaker thank you show from SmackDown this week, where they played the Boneyard. They wrote that last year, knowing they were going to do the Boneyard from WrestleMania to put in this show. You didn't know that they wrote that last year at this time?
Is that predictive programming? Right?
Yeah. Everything they say is bullshit, bro. Even when they want to juke the numbers on the stock and all that shit as well. Like, it's up over X amount, but it's not the percentage that they're saying it is.
Is there a way for the independents from the different levels, from, the ones that I work with here in Southern Ohio to, like an OVW that's more the upscale, is there a way for them to draw more female fans or put a focus on the female wrestlers without kind of relying on the sexuality aspect?
No, why would you not want to, dude? We are sexual creatures. This is a part of what we want. We don't want gender confusion. We don't want, we like female warriors. Absolutely. We like strong women characters. Beatrice and Kill Bill, sexy. The Shield Maiden and Viking, sexy. Xena, sexy, and badass, all of them, right? There's nothing wrong with strong, sexy female characters, but we are primarily heterosexual in percentages. So why do the confusion thing to spoon feed somebody? That's always going to end up as bad medicine when you try and cut off the other. You know, like if you just want to even look at my YouTube channel alone, the bra and panties match on there globally has done 7.5 million views out of the 12 million on my channel. So you tell me one match out of 700 videos, bro, because people in India want to see sexy women. In UK, like, that's just human nature. So to go against it, that's a stupid marketing ploy. What sells? Sex sells. Aside from Man Beast, sex sells. You know what I mean?
One sexy beast, baby.
Yeah,
that's what sexy
he's
beast.
on the cell all the time. That's what I mean.
Always.
So, like, to go against this, bro, that's been a principle of psychology and marketing, Freudian psychology, is just absolutely asinine. You cannot rewire the DNA in human mind existence without some type of MK Ultra mind control, I guess. So that's what the battle they're fighting, and they know that it's a losing battle, but they just keep plugging away.
Well, you know, like with sex sells on the other side, AEW, you know, who, you know, it's the millennial wrestling promotion, whatever it might be, the social justice. Their chief brand officer, what do you get every day? You get a selfie bikini ass shot. And then they try to tell you however the company is, and you got their 600,000 loyal Spank Bang
But
fans.
that's them confusing it, right? Just make her sexy and powerful. Like, that's it. Like, I don't need to be everything else that they tried to do, the dark world and the fucking this, that, and the other, bro. Like, you know who she is, so.
Keep on WWE with some real quick news here. We'll try to get out here in about 15 minutes, gentlemen. WWE talent claims wrestlers are forbidden to reveal COVID diagnosis, and Kevin Dunn made a scene about masks. Let me pull up the link here, but on the short of this story here, there was an anonymous letter sent to Wrestling Inc., I believe, that stated that, and it wasn't really clear if this was just to talent, if this included personnel, things like that. If this went out after we had the likes of Renee Young, who was it, Braxton Pierce, there was 4 of them that came out and said that they tested positive, which then caused speculation that maybe upwards near of like 40 individuals was inside the company. But in this letter, individual, now that WWE has more talent and staffers starting to test positive, we've been informed by talent relations not to discuss our illness with anybody besides those we may live with that need to know. We are forbidden to tell anyone else, nor can we come out publicly making statements on this. Thoughts on this from in-house with WWE, their cover-up here, potentially bad press, exposure?
Yeah, dude, do you imagine how does that go down? Where's the email? So there is no email that's been stooged. That means it was done by word-of-mouth intimidation. Nobody's allowed to talk to anybody. We're having a meeting afterwards. Like, you know, did anybody do a Project Veritas? How long till that happens? A Project Veritas expose of one of those meetings at NXT. Do they already have? NXT is wired. NXT is wired for sound everywhere, dude. Everywhere. You said Kevin Dunn had a heat with somebody. All I could think of was that. Like, dude, that place has got, even in the office rooms, there's cameras and microphones places, bro. So there's no secret conversations. So maybe somebody's got some fucking dirt to hang over somebody's head just on tape alone, especially if you're a production guy. What did Dunn say about the mask? What was he was hot about it?
It says here we go with and yes, it was true that Kevin Dunn did not allow fans to wear a mask and made a scene twice over the PA to not wear masks. It's a shame these people came out to support the talent and the company they love, and they were treated this way. So apparently, I guess what the different rumors and speculation here is that he was very adamant that you're not a true fan if you're trying to cover up and be as lively and heard as possible. So.
Oh, shit. I thought he was like hot that people weren't wearing masks and he wanted to
this
after
complete
the COVID.
opposite.
Dunn's like,
that were coming in allowed into the performance
all
center.
right, I'm kind of down with Dunn though. Like, I know it sounds crazy because I hate this COVID shit, but like, no, that is insane, bro.
Give me wrestling or give me death.
He was saying it to fans.
Well, this is, I guess we've seen over the last couple of weeks where it's been just not the trainees at the Performance Center.
Right.
I guess in certain cases they've been allowed to bring in those close to them, either family and friends have been able.
So
to
he was heating on family and friends of workers about them wearing masks, telling them they're not true fans. Be like, you're right. I'm his fucking brother-in-law. This shit is phony as fuck. Like that's crazy to me, B. Imagine the conversations that have gone down, Beast, in a go-home meeting.
Oh God, I can only imagine. There'll probably some really long go-home meetings, or some of those, especially when there's, I think of some of the shit that went down when we were in OVW and we'd have those extra long meetings. I can only imagine they're probably going to 4 a.m.
They went from in 4 weeks' time. Here's your go-home meetings: kayfabe COVID, Black Lives Matter fall down meeting, speak out meeting, back to COVID kayfabe meeting. Like that's the last 4 weeks, bro. Of like their. So those just have to be brutal, man. Bloom's got to be devastated. Canyon Seaman's got to have his nuts kicked in. Like all those guys just got to be looking like the Walking Dead at this point, bro. Like what could possibly be next?
And to be clear, for those that maybe don't know what we're talking about, generally, at least back in OVW, after the show, you'd have a company-wide talent meeting to basically go over what was this, that, or the other. Now, I don't think on the main roster they do that, but I can imagine probably at developmental NXT, I would guess probably they do some kind of debriefing at the end. And whenever shit went down, when we were at OVW, the meetings would be extra long. But it was, I think, there was some, bad shit that went down, but not nearly stuff that's going on now. Like the worst, I think, was maybe like title belts getting stolen and like, hey, give them back, or someone messing up something with a sponsor. Still bad, but nothing to the degree it's what's going on now. But when that bad stuff went down, the meetings sometimes would last till 11, 30. I could now that probably the sun's coming up by the time they're getting done with their after show meetings.
Because they can't put it in email, so it's all got to be done face to face. Because with the way these motherfuckers screenshot and stooge shit, you're fucked, right? So
yeah, and forget about pulling up the camera and recording it, because they're going to know exactly who did it then. So
and now we're into some real worker shit, because this is the test, because
on a phone call.
Right.
Because it's going to be recorded.
Exactly. Right. And this is some real worker shit, because now they're asking you to be a party to kayfabe and the fucking marks, to toe the company PR line, even if it's against your own health or your own political, views. And that's some shit that you cannot do based on, any state laws of HIPAA or whatever the fuck, right? Of workers' rights. No, it doesn't matter if they got a death clause in there or not. Or like, dude, there's a lot of shit going right now that they're trying to do the wrong way to keep the lid on things, and that's going to come back further to bite them in the ass 2 months from now, dude.
Well, Ben, you mentioned the company PR line. So this is a name we haven't talked about in a while. He was at the forefront when this entire thing broke. Roman Reigns, with a statement that he has given on this about his absence from WWE and everything with the COVID. I just had to make a choice for my family, Reigns stated. The company, WWE, has done everything they can to make it the safest working environment possible. It is not the workplace I was necessarily concerned about. So he's putting them over here that they were doing everything they could potentially, to create this safe environment for the talents involved there. Is there a certain point here where, it's easy to vilify the corporation, that we have to hold some of the talents responsible? Well, now we're seeing on social media, even amidst all this, that they're still out taking, sharing photos of they're out at beaches, that they're fraternized at restaurants in close quarters with others. Is there a responsibility there, knowing, hey, you work for this high profile company, and in most cases, you're tremendously paying jobs. You're a public figure.
I would say yes. I would say yes, except for the fact that on their programming, no one is social distancing or doing the right thing. So I would say yes, as a public figure, they should be a role model and example. But if part of your fame is being on a program where people are not acting in that manner, then why would one be expected to behave in that manner outside of what people are seeing them on?
On that program, they're not even acknowledging it exists.
Right.
And now the rumor is
so at that point, what responsibility do they have to uphold those standards when on national television they aren't expected to hold those standards?
You won't hold me to any standard. This COVID is This COVID is goddamn bullshit.
Ha.
Oh, ha. Yeah, I heard the old man might have it.
Yeah, absolutely. You think he's going to sell that though? I mean, but he's got running through those veins. I mean, he could probably.
Dude, that's the thing.
He's
Like,
got the cure within him.
have you heard anybody who has it or whatever? And what are their symptoms? I heard like you get sticky phlegm. Oh my God, sticky phlegm. Yeah, and like that's it, pretty much. Like, you know, it's not like you got the flu and you're pissing out your ass and 105 fever and you're puking up blood. Like, Vince has he's been through a lot worse fucking sicknesses where he no-sold it in the middle of, you know, Royal Rumble season where he was probably wearing an adult diaper, just a gorilla the whole time filling it. And like that, this is nothing, bro, if he was sick. And that's the other part of the reality of it. Like COVID. Oh, they've got a cough. Oh, big deal.
Well, I mean, he survived 83 weeks of WCW, right?
Yeah.
He can get through this shit.
Whatever. It's absolutely ridiculous, hilarious. What they're 5% of NBA players have it already, and they're going to wear electronic rings that will alert them if anybody with COVID is near them, and all this shit, bro. All that I saw that on Drudge this morning. So it's more lunacy as everything falls down. You know, I think we got there and got out of Florida right before they closed it down again, and in New York, the block is hot, man, because they're going to.
Thing is, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, the block's hot in Kentucky with fucking race stuff just as much as it is here, dude, with whatever, man.
I was just going to go back to, you know, we were talking about how the best wrestling angles are true to life. And I can't help but feel like amongst all the major promotions, although I guess I can understand, and, you know, maybe with sponsorships and things like that, maybe that's why they aren't going towards it. But I also feel like it would be very intriguing to see a wrestling character who was somehow obsessed with the current global pandemic and maybe even extra on edge and worried, because I think people can relate to that and relate to that type of personality. And so you could play up that easily in all kinds of backstage skits. And I think you could even make, you know, light in some way, you know, like they're walking around, someone coughs and they freak out, like, get away from, you know what I mean? Like that
I
could be
would
a whole,
too. Absolutely,
you know,
dude.
True to life type angle.
I mean, if you're going to minstrel show R-Truth, that's where the comedy is. He comes in with big masks and he's got a fucking hazmat suit on and all that shit.
He comes down the ring in one of those big bubble balls.
Yeah, the boy
You
in
know
the
what I mean?
plastic bubble, all that shit.
Yeah.
But they don't want.
I mean, it could be great.
They don't want to do it. They just want to fabe it, make their own little. This is what the problem is with every wrestling company, and I'm glad Man Beast he's starting to come out of it like a rebirth. And we say these words is being in the wrestling bubble. And I've watched a lot of my OVW brothers become the professionals they should be within like a 3 to 4 year span, and then they stay there for like 6 years instead of going out and plying their craft, and they miss some of their best years. I'm not talking about you, Beast, especially.
I'd absolutely put myself
I could name a dozen of them who are better workers than 90% of the people I'm on with the show, and they could steal the show from them just doing character alone. Not even the rest. Yeah, absolutely. Than that. And it's about breaking out of a wrestling bubble, and Beast is on his way, putting all his time and effort into his stuff, Hamin Media stuff, and growing his brand. WWE stays in that wrestling bubble where they will now have those meetings till 1 a.m. to come up with a strategy to keep it on the down low because they don't want the heat. But then that meeting alone sets them up for further failure instead of just nipping it in the bud when it needs to be, or ribbed the right way and saying we aren't oblivious to what the world is seeing and we can make a joke out of it, much like that COVID thing. It's when they try and do the see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil shit, they fuck themselves every time.
I think anyone can relate to a situation where there's a clear elephant in the room, and to not bring it up is just ridiculous because everyone sees the elephant, everyone knows the elephant is there, but you're going to pretend like it's not. It's like,
come on, bro. I mean, I'd say hippo status, but don't be calling Nia no elephant, bro.
Woolly mammoth.
Nia's not an elephant, man. That's not fucking nice to be saying that kind of shit. That's just not nice.
Gentlemen, we got a big couple of weeks coming up here in pro wrestling. We're going to have all the coverage here on the Hamin Media Group platform. We got kicking off WWE's kind of, they're going to be pushing their boundaries, kind of changing up the taping schedule out of necessity with everything that's happened with their COVID outbreaks. Of course, they've got 2 weeks of the Great American Bash, going to be running head-to-head against Fyter Fest on Wednesdays. We got the build to Extreme Rules, got everything in the world of MMA, conspiracy, all the coverage right here on the Hamin Media Group platform.
Yeah, man, working on some new guests. It's going to be big weeks ahead as we approach 2 million. I think we'll probably be there within the next 8 days, 9 days. So just pushing everything forward and trying to get as many shares on Russo brand videos. I'm about to make some new little clips live there. So if you haven't followed Russo YouTube and my YouTube remonetized Ben Hamin channel, plenty of great Ted McNailer, Mobile Homer's old videos on there if you want to see young Man Beast getting kicked around by the insurgency. I think that's on there as well.
Oh, yeah. Flag match.
But yeah, man, I just got the signal from Ryan Barkin at Pro Wrestling Tees, 72-hour prowrestlingtees.com/Ben Hamin sale. What are they doing? 20% off, I think. So yeah, go over there and get your American special. And there's no better shirts to get than Hamin Media Group shirts. Helps us deliver all this free media to you guys, all the free shows we love providing, all the locker rooms. Everybody cross over. We had a great Friday locker room with Strangler Steve. People are really loving the video of that's up on my YouTube as well. If you like the video version, definitely check it out, you guys. So, Man Beast, I don't know how much time we got left before the super volcano erupts from Planet X's incomings, but I'm excited to see the end of days.
Yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be entertaining. I'm going to have a lot of popcorn ready and looking forward to it. Speaking of things exploding, I will do a cheap plug this Sunday, Independence Day weekend on the Barn Burner channel, or if you have Facebook, just go to the Barn Burner page. We'll be interviewing the former Michael Hayes, not Michael P.S. Hayes, but OVW's Michael Hayes. He's now doing Iron Mike Braddock. And if you haven't out on social media, he's one that is not shy to share his opinion, and it will probably be not your traditional patriotic Independence Day interview, but he is an American patriot. He's a war hero, lost his leg in Iraq, and he's now doing a lot of stuff. He's been in pro wrestling for a while, but he's also been trying to get into a little bit of mixed martial arts and doing more of a shoot style with the things he's doing. And it should be a really interesting interview, to say the least. I'm actually anticipating, only because I've already told him, because on this show we can say whatever we want. On Barn Burner, we have to watch what we say, can't cuss. But it may or may not be our last show, because you know how Mike is. So
hey, dude,
it'll be good. It'll be entertaining, and I'm sure a lot of fun nonetheless. But
he knows he can come on here as a special. I gave him the opportunity, and he fade me, bro. So I love Mike Hayes.
I'm just more over with him than you, I guess.
Oh, I absolutely don't doubt it. He probably wants to shoot me down, but he's getting to Brian Jack level on his Facebook, and I worry a bit about that, but
I do too. Well, hopefully we can have some. You know how I am. I mean, I'm not afraid to challenge you too, and we have some open dialogues, and so hopefully.
Well, I'm just saying, if it starts to go that way, and you want to offer the fact to continue that style of conversation,
oh sure, absolutely,
the platform's open. You know what I mean? Yeah. Absolutely.
And he's got a lot of stories to tell too, and he's not afraid to share.
No.
So I'm sure we'll have plenty.
But it's weird to me when
personalities and vets getting thrown under the bus on Sunday.
It's always weird to me when I offer, like, I see somebody's got something to bark about, and I say, here's a little bit bigger soapbox, and then it's silence.
Yeah, it is interesting, because I know he's not the only one that's been that way. So I don't know,
man. I guess, but
I guess, and I also feel sometimes it depends on the day you catch him on. And
that's true. That's absolutely true, man. He's been through a lot PTSD wise. Some days he's going to be set off way more than others, bro. That fucking happens when 3 of your best friends die in a fiery crash and you get your fucking leg blown off in a war zone.
Right. I can only imagine.
I can't. But
I guess I can't.
You guys can hear about it firsthand. I'm sure on Barn Burner this Sunday, is it, Beast?
Sunday, yeah, from 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern time.
Getting great numbers on that. That should be a top-notch episode.
Ben, before you get us out of here, if I could jump in real quick. The day before Beast's new episode on Barn Burner, you can catch over on Twitch. I believe it's going to be on the Hamin Media Group Twitch, live on my Facebook, on social media at The Real RBV, Richard Brownson Vickery. It's the 4th of July. We had to mix some altercations to it, but we're still going to go live for the watch along. It's the Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Championship. You can join me, the RBV, Richard Brownson Vickery. We're going to be kicking that thing off at noon. We're going to give you the play-by-play, the breakdown, the inside, everything you need to know, all the tremendous insight for RBV fitness. So again, that's going to be on Twitch. Facebook, across social media. Looking forward to seeing everybody.
My only request is immediately, or at least within 30 seconds of the conclusion of the contest, I'm curious how many push-ups you can do.
Oh.
I'm going to get him in that morning.
I almost puked just
I want to see him right afterwards.
Both, before and after.
Got to think, RBV, we have a lot of loyal viewers, and they want the height and the pinnacle of entertainment that they could possibly get. And I
loved it last year. We had such a good time with them. We had people watching like 6 different countries. At the time, it was like a record for like a live watch along in the chat room and all that. We were having such a good time. After the contest ended, they just wanted me to keep the camera going. I was out at a local bar. They were just going to sit there and just bullshit with me while I drank the rest of the day.
Hey, why not?
Yeah, man, it was a good time last year, July 4th. So tune in for that, for the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. We're trying to have as much fun coverage here as we can at twitch.tv/Conspiracy Horseman, and check out RBV's channel. Get him. What was your email again, Beast?
bookthedoctor@gmail.com. I'm accepting clients through the end of July. So whether you're a wrestler looking for character development or just general advice on getting booked, or if you're someone that's maybe not a wrestler and just needs, any kind of physical rehab needs from my physical therapy background, I'm glad to help. Again, I'm accepting people through the end of July with special consultation offers. So just send me an email, bookthedoctor@gmail.com, and my administrator will take care of you. Or you can also follow me on social media, Ted the Man Beast, Instagram, Twitter, or Ted McNaylor on Facebook.
Awesome.
Administrator.
I seen her. She's hot. I also want to appreciate,
AKA my wife.
I want to appreciate everybody who's gone to thebrosters.com, gotten the official Russo brand limited edition, loving it. The reviews are in. People are ordering more and more over and over who've already bought it because they know how good it is. So join the coffee cult, because it is the best you'll have. I actually got to go get some more today, and the wife's bringing you a bag down, a Beast, because we got so you're gonna have it for yourself and see how great it really is, and then you'll be on thebrosters.com getting your official Russo brand coffee as well. Shout out to ZordosOliveOil.com as well, Dippin' Donuts and everything that's going on with Hamin Media Socials. You guys, appreciate you following us here at twitch.tv/Conspiracy Horseman. All of our bit cheers, everybody who was in the chat room this morning. I know I didn't get to shout outs, but hit up Old Bitter Steve on Twitter at Old Bitter Steve, and he'll give you your Wednesday shout outs, unless your name's Big Ray, then you're never getting one, infidels. But it's the Monday Locker Room. Rick Vickery, Ted the Man Beast, Hacker Hamin, kicking your week off right, kicking you in the face, infidels. YOLO!